In this video, we're going to talk about using Instana to provide IBM Power observability. This includes things like 1-second metric collection, 100% capture of application transactions, an AI-driven engine that leads to a 50% reduction in mean time to repair, monitoring of your AIX LPARs, Linux LPARs, IBM I, OpenShift on Power, all of the key environments as well as the applications running on Power. Instana provides a number of key monitoring capabilities, including synthetic monitoring, SLOs, log monitoring, and more. We're just going to focus on the Power-specific capabilities here. First, we have Platform, where we have our Power HMC. This gives visibility into all the servers that the HMC is managing. I can drill into one of those servers, where I can see the server utilization, the LPARs, drill into individual LPARs, the VIOSs, network and energy as well. If I go into one of the VIOSs, you'll see the performance of the VIOS as well as the virtual network and storage. For example, you could see the virtual network devices like the shared Ethernet adapters, virtual Ethernet adapters, SR-IOV ports, etc. On storage, you'll see information like the physical adapters, generic virtual adapters, fiber channel adapters, and more. Now let's navigate to the infrastructure. This is where you'll find the individual servers in the environment. Here are my AIX servers. I can click on one, open up a dashboard, where you're going to see all your standard OS metrics, CPU, memory, disk, down to the individual CPUs, file systems, etc. One of the key things with Instana is the ability to get granular data. I can go down to a 1-minute view. So we're showing a 1-minute view of the data, and as you can see, we're picking up 1-second metric data, all the peaks and valleys that are occurring in the environment. We can even turn on a live view where you can see data streaming in near real time into the system. Now let's take a look at IBM I. You'll see your top level server utilization, and then on the left hand side you see lots of detailed information around the network, licensing programs, JVMs, databases, MQ, and more. If you're looking at a Linux system on Power, it's going to look like any other Linux system. Intel Power would look the same. The main thing with Instana is when you're monitoring an operating system, it's also discovering and then monitoring the key middleware and applications that are running on that particular system. So I could drill into the OS. I could also navigate into those detailed middleware metrics and look for detailed information. Now let's take a look at applications. These are the golden signals for this quote of the day application. You can see we've got some latency problems and some erroneous calls that are occurring at this point in time. Instana does end-to-end monitoring of the entire application and does this automatically once the monitoring instrumentation is put in place on the server. And you can see here transactions are tracing through the various components. You can see some warnings on the services and the ability to debug and diagnose this via a lot of other data that we're capturing here. Now let's take a look at one other capability. Within Instana, we're leveraging AI to help you diagnose problems. When you select an incident within Instana, what you're going to see is it's capturing things like the related events. It's giving you this probable cause. So it's identified that this is the component that's got the problem. This is the topology of the application as the traces go through that application. And the ability for me to drill down into these various components and diagnose and get down to another level of detail. I can also see in context errors and logs. I have automations that I can execute to try to correct problems via things like Ansible, Terraform, shell scripts, etc. I can analyze calls and drill down into a single transaction, or I can see the timing of that application call, where it spent its time, where is it failing, and ultimately understand the root cause. In this case, the MQQ is full, transactions are failing. So that gives you a quick overview. Just keep in mind there's a number of other capabilities that are in the tool. Now let's look at some adjacent capabilities. If you happen to have Turbonomic, we integrate Turbonomic into Instana. In the context of an application, you'll see optimizations that are available, and you'll see these as well in the events when they trigger. But here, you can see that's identified a number of different things that we can do to optimize the environment. So it might be resizing of a pod running in an OpenShift cluster on Power. If you have IBM Concert, you'll see vulnerabilities for your applications in context, so you can see those vulnerabilities and leverage Contra's ability to automate a corrective action to fix the vulnerabilities. And finally, we have kube-cost integration. If I'm in the context of Kubernetes, and I'm looking at one of my clusters, you could see the cost associated with that cluster, but broken down into details. So for example, I could see the cost by namespace. You could see whether it's trending in an upward or downward direction. And you can use this information for chargeback and helping people understand what they're consuming with their various applications and deployments.